Greetings and welcome back to the Couch Geek. We're going to continue our trek through the stars with our next entry. Our next entry being Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
The Klingon Empire has 50 years of life left to it.
To offer Klingons a safe haven within Federation space is suicide.
They're animals, Jim. They are dying. And you, Captain Kirk, are to be our first olive branch.
Me?
The galaxy.
Star Trek VI was released December 6th, 1991, just in time for Star Trek's 25th anniversary celebration, and was directed by Nicholas Meyer, returning from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country was the final movie featuring the full original cast, and it was released as part of Star Trek's 25th anniversary celebration. The movie did a good job setting up the future of Star Trek and how they showed the beginnings of the peace treaty between the Federation and the Klingons. Now, the previous movie, Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, directed by the man himself, William Shatner, had been a bit of a disappointment, and Paramount did not have a lot of high hopes for Star Trek VI. In fact, it nearly never happened. The original producer, Harve Bennett, wanted to revisit Kirk and Spock's Academy days. However, he could not get that approved through Paramount. They wanted to make sure Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner were in the movie, and eventually they came to terms with Harve Bennett being released, and they brought on the new producer, Ralph Winter. Now, Ralph Winter was told by Paramount, produce a film for the 25th anniversary of Star Trek, but keep it cheap. Several plot ideas had been tossed back and forth between Harve Bennett and before Ralph Winter came on. What eventually melted into the Star Trek VI that we know today was when Leonard Nimoy paid a visit to Nicholas Meyer before he was even hired as the director. And he mentioned, what if the wall came down in space? Referring to the fall of the Berlin Wall, which had recently happened. This idea prompted Meyer to begin relating things in Star Trek to things in current culture. Nicholas Meyer came up with the idea of using Counselor Gorkin as a parallel to Mikhail Gorbachev of the time. After coming up with that parallel, things snowballed, and eventually he ended up writing the movie shortly afterwards. Nicholas Meyer also went on to direct the movie, as I previously mentioned. Star Trek VI is considered by many to be one of the best original series movies, and was a great swan song for the crew. This would be the last time we'd see a lot of them reprise their roles on screen. A few of them did show up down the line. Leonard Nimoy showed up in Season 5 of Star Trek: The Next Generation on the planet Romulus, working to unify the Romulan and Vulcan people. Montgomery Scott showed up in the 6th season of Next Generation as well, after being stuck in a transporter loop, something that can only happen in Star Trek. And of course, William Shatner would have one final on-screen role as Captain Kirk in the next movie, Star Trek Generations. After Star Trek VI, the original crew retired, and the Next Generation crew would take over in 1994 with Star Trek Generations.